You're about to have a month-long vacation with Amitabha that will hopefully lead to a long life vacation with Amitabha. Okay, so think that you're going to the Pure Land for a while, and change your thoughts so that your thoughts become like a Pure Land, okay, not like a hell realm. Because you can make this 4 weeks of hell, or you can make this 4 weeks of a Pure Land. It's up to the way that you use your mind, how you look at things. Okay. The sound, what is that? The sound of the birds in Amitabha's Pure Land, teaching us impermanence. Great birds that sing in the winter. So you're going to have this vacation. When we say retreat, often we think retreat means going to the mountains, getting away from it all, forget the city, forget all these people who are driving us crazy. We just want to be in retreat and isolated from everybody else. Okay? We hear seclusion, isolation in, the different verses, and we think that's what retreat is. What Kyabje Sopa Rinpoche always emphasizes, though, is that retreat means a retreat from afflictions. So we're trying to retreat from ignorance, anger, clinging attachment, self-centered thought. Those are the things that we're backing away from. Those are the things that we want to isolate ourselves from. Those are the things we want to be secluded from. So it's not the world, it's not other sentient beings. It's the things in our own mind that are causing the suffering that we want to retreat from. So if you remember that, it will help your mind be calm in retreat. If you don't remember that, and you think that retreat means everybody around you is in complete silence and, nothing's disturbing you except this and that and the other thing. So if you think like that, then you're going to find lots of things to be dissatisfied with, that are going to disturb your retreat. But the thing that really disturbs our retreat is our afflictions. Because we can easily notice that when we are concentrated, somebody else may be clicking their mala, but we don't notice it. Okay? When we are focused on the visualization, on the mantra, on the meaning of the passage in the sadhana that we're meditating on, then we don't notice the sound that the heater makes. We don't notice somebody coughing or blowing their nose. Okay? So these things basically take our attention when we aren't so concentrated. And so the idea is to try and cultivate concentration on something that's worthwhile to concentrate on, instead of our dissatisfaction with the external environment and the people in it. Okay, so what I find very helpful is when you sit down on your seat, the monastics have a cloth, our sitting cloth or dingwa that we put down. The rest of you have your cushion that you put down, and you think that this seat is my territory, or in Vinaya terms, this is my sima, okay? And my mind is going to stay within this sima. My mind is not going to go out and go to the disco in town, go to my boyfriend, go to the classes I'm going to take in school, or the classes I took 5 years ago in school. It's not going to go to my work. It's not going to go to the 15,000 emails I have that need to be responded to. My mind is staying here within the space of this cushion, within the space of my sitting cloth. Okay? And then that's very helpful, because then when you notice that you're starting to think about something else, like lunch, yeah, that's a popular distraction, then you'll say, wait a minute, my lunch is not here within this, this block, so I'm leaving that outside. I'm leaving that aside. That's not what I'm focusing on. In retreat, remember that you're purifying and you're creating merit. Whenever we purify, whenever we cleanse our mind, it's like cleansing a room. You have to see the dirt in order to clean it. If you don't see the dirt, then you can't clean it. So your mental, emotional dirt is going to come up during the retreat. Yeah. And that's good. That's to be expected. Don't say to yourself, oh, look at everybody else. They're so concentrated, and I'm sitting here so upset with my mind remembering this and that and the other thing and going crazy. Don't do that to yourself. Don't judge yourself like that. Just stuff comes up and you say, good. Yeah, now I can see my mental dirt. Now I can see what I need to work on. Because if we can't see it, then we're never going to work on it, which means it's going to work on us. Yeah, meaning it will, the stuff we've suppressed is going to afflict us and make us make unwise decisions, make us miserable, have lots of distractions and so on. So whenever something comes up, you just say, good. Yeah, I've always prayed to become enlightened, awakened, as quickly as possible to be able to benefit sentient beings. And this thing that's coming up is enabling me to do it, because by coming up, I can deal with it. I can train my mind in the antidotes to it and overcome it. I can purify it instead of getting involved and sunk in the middle of it. Okay? So sometimes when you're meditating, you will have images or distractions of things that happened to you in the past that are very upsetting, or things that people said to you that you got really knocked out of whack with, or situations, relationships with people where you're doubting your own behavior. Yeah. And just whenever that comes up, say, good, now I can clear this up. Okay? So instead of having, because it's like when you clean the house. I mean, if you lift up the rug and you throw all your discarded food under the rug and all your old tissues and toilet paper under the rug, you may have the rug over it and everything looks so nice, but the room is going to stink to high heaven. Okay, so it's the same way in our mind. We can plaster things over and look like nice, sweet practitioners. But inside, it's like this garbage heap. So, if we just open up the garbage, then we can clean it out. So you don't have to go searching for the garbage. It will come by itself. Okay? So don't feel like you have to sit there. Okay, what horrible thing am I going to remember today? Because that's not going to be your whole retreat and you don't need to force it. But when it comes, then think, okay, what's the Dharma antidote to this? Now, we've talked a lot about Dharma antidotes. And if I quiz you, what's the antidote to attachment? Meditating on impermanence, meditating on the ugliness of the object. Okay. Meditating that even if you got it, it's not going to bring you everlasting happiness. What's the remedy for jealousy? Rejoicing. What's the remedy for anger? Yeah, love, fortitude. Okay, so we know all these. Do you practice them when those emotions come up? Yeah? So this is what retreat is for. Yeah, to actually practice these things, not just to remember them if somebody quizzes you, not just to say them to an audience when you're giving a Dharma talk, but to actually apply to your own mind when an affliction comes up. Okay. Now, the trick to having the antidotes be effective is to also meditate on them when the affliction is not strong. Okay? So that you get some practice of thinking in that new way, just when your mind is kind of in a neutral state. When you get that practice, then when an affliction comes up, after you identify it, you have some practice, some familiarity with the antidote, and that helps the antidote to work. Okay? The things you want to be aware of is something coming up and then being so distracted by it that you don't identify it as an affliction. Some emotion comes up, some visualization, whatever it is comes up, and there you are, sunk in a situation from the past, or sunk in a situation that you're afraid will happen in the future, and you're not even aware that that's what's going on in your mind. Okay? So one thing you want to avoid is not identifying the affliction. Okay? So, we have to develop some practice in identifying the affliction. What is it I'm feeling? Yeah? Is it anger or is it jealousy? Yeah? Is it love or is it attachment? Can I even tell the difference between the two in my mind? Yeah? And so, first thing, to be able to identify it. Then, the second thing to avoid is, even if you've identified what the affliction is, you get so sunk in it that you don't apply the antidote. Okay? So the affliction not only arises, but it completely overtakes your mind. Or we get so interested in the affliction, oh, I'm angry, or I feel like my trust has been betrayed. And we get into that, because feeling our emotions makes us feel so real. Yeah? And I'm really into this, and I'm visualizing this situation, and I'm getting upset. And this is driving me crazy. And you can spend a whole session like that until, ding, it's the end of the session. Yeah, so it's important when you notice the affliction, to label the affliction and then think, what's the antidote? And then meditate on the antidote that you have practiced in meditation sessions when you've just been in a neutral state of mind, so you have some familiarity with those antidotes. Okay? So don't just let the affliction arise and say, oh yeah, it's an affliction, but I'll deal with it later. I've got to solve the problem now, okay? Yeah, because here's another thing we fall into. Affliction arises, and we say, what do I do? You know, there's a problem to solve. I've got to act, okay? That's, put the action away, yeah? First thing we have to do is resolve the affliction and make it go down. After we subdue the affliction, then what to do won't be a problem for us to figure out. But another thing we do is, instead of dealing with the affliction, we think of, what do I do? What am I going to say to this person? Yeah, this person, you know, I'm doing my mind reading thing, yeah? They're thinking this, they're motivated by that. I know that they're going to want to do this. They're manipulating me. I've always been manipulated in my life. What am I going to do? How am I going to stop them in their tracks? I've got to say something that's just going to get to the core and stop these guys, you know? So what am I going to say? I could say this. I could say that in a sweet tone that's going to hurt them. I can be sarcastic. Yeah. I can do NVC, but stick the knife in while I'm doing it. Yeah, because we can do that too, can't we? Yeah. So you practice all these different things that you're going to say to somebody. That's just distraction. Yeah. Figuring out what to do is distraction. First, you have to deal with the emotion in the mind, the affliction in the mind, and calm the mind. Okay? Don't worry so much about what to do. Another thing is, you know, we're doing the retreat in noble silence, which means we aren't speaking to each other, of course, unless it's necessary. So you'll hear announcements once in a while. We have Q&A sessions, we have go-arounds, and so on. Okay? And of course, if somebody is looking, you know, like they're going to get hurt, say something, okay? But we aren't going to chit-chat, and we aren't going to write novels on notes. Yeah, I've been at some retreat centers where they have a board where everybody puts their notes, and as soon as you know what center I'm talking about, you know the retreats I'm talking about, you were there, and as soon as a session ends, everybody heads for the note board to write notes to somebody else or to check if there's a note for them. You will notice there is no note board in the Abbey to do that with, okay? Please have some compassion on the people who are the retreat managers, okay? Yes, if you don't, or if you're freezing at night and you need another blanket, if your stomach is upset, you know, and you need help, if you need some advice for your meditation, yes, write a note. But let's not get, you know, start with the novel writing and the notes, and which can either be, oh, I admire you so much for this, you know, because you want to praise people, or the notes of, can you throw that nylon jacket away and get something made of cloth that doesn't make so much noise? Yeah. And please have compassion on the people who are cooking. Okay? Yeah. So one day there may not be all the food you like, you know, or you may have a special diet and the cook forgets to put your special stuff out. You know, this happens to me. I say this is my practice. Yeah, it's my practice to be content with what is offered. I'm not going to die. Yeah? I'm not somebody who's malnourished. Yeah? who is just skin and bones, who is going to die if I don't have enough protein or enough whatever for a day or a week or whatever it is. Yeah. So this is my practice. I will eat what I can. And I might even try eating some of the things that I usually say I don't like. Wow, what a new idea. Yeah. You know, when I was a kid, I hated salad. I would not eat it. And I hated pizza. Would not eat that either. Those of you who live here, know that all my lunches have a big salad, and that when they serve pizza, I go for it. You know, so things can change. Although we're keeping silence, you will get to know people very well. So don't say, oh, I'm sitting in a room full of strangers, I can't even talk to them. Actually, you get to know people really well during the retreat. You get to know all their habits. Yeah? Okay. Who doesn't push their chair in at the table so that other people trip over it? And who does push their chair in? Who pushes their chair in going, "Arr!" and who picks their chair up and places it in quietly? Okay. You will know who walks like that and who walks quietly. Okay. You will know who has allergies. Yeah. You will know so much about other people that that you may never have noticed because you've always been involved in talking to them and creating an identity. So the reason for the silence is to keep us from having to create identities. Yeah. Here I am so and so. I like this. I don't like that. Yeah, this is how I met Dharma. This is who I've studied with, you know. And you can't, when you meditate, you're going to also do a whole trip on all the different Dharma teachings and teachers and Dharma centers you want to go to in the future. Yeah, that'll take up a few meditation sessions. Roaming the world with your virtuous mind, seeking the Dharma, but actually being totally distracted. Okay? So you don't share any of that with people. Yeah, there is no pressure on you and no obligation to create a personality and sell that personality to other people. Yeah, you can just mind your own business and do retreat. Yeah. Other people will generate lots of conceptions about you. That's fine. That is their problem. You will generate lots of conceptions about other people. That is not so good, and that is your problem. So keep focused on your own mind and what you're doing, not on other people. Of course, if somebody looks totally depressed and they're crying, during every meditation session, yes, say something, okay? Yeah? If somebody's missing sessions, if your roommate is just in bed, and they can't do anything, say something to somebody. Yeah. But aside from that, it's basically look in your own alms bowl, don't look in others. Keep your mind in the sema of your own cushion. Yeah. On this earth, keep your mind where your body is. Yeah, and not let it roam everywhere else. Okay? So, like I said, you will get to know people, and you will form opinions about them. Recognize that those are opinions. Throw them out and come back to, here's a sentient being who wants to be happy and wants to be free of suffering just like me. So whether that's somebody in the retreat that you happen to be projecting your garbage on, or somebody, in your life that you're projecting your garbage on, always come back to, it's a suffering sentient being who wants to be happy and doesn't want to suffer, who has afflictions and karma, like me, who wants to be happy, like me, who makes mistakes, like me. And just as we don't want other people to judge us, let's hold our own opinion factory when it comes to other people. Okay? So like I said, if you can see somebody's really in trouble, say something, But otherwise, just, look at your own opinion factory and notice the habit of the type of people that you have certain opinions and emotions towards, okay? So, do you project more garbage on men or on women? Yeah. Do you have more issues with authority figures or people that you think are weak? Yeah. Notice the patterns. Do I have more attachment or do I have more anger? Yeah. Do I have more arrogance or do I have more jealousy or more competition? And how do those three play together? Yeah. So be aware of that kind of stuff. And then remember, our retreat is a retreat from that. Okay? If you remember a situation in the past that was very disturbing to you, don't keep replaying the situation in your mind. Figure out what your emotional reaction to it is at this moment. Okay? Something happened in the past? Because you see, what happened in the past, we can't do anything about. It's over and it's done with. And it actually doesn't matter what happened in the past. What matters is how we feel about that incident now. So if some memory comes up and triggers an emotion, identify what that emotion is, and then think of what the antidotes to it are and apply those antidotes. Okay? If the situation keeps coming back to you in living technicolor, what I find very helpful is, instead of just rerunning it over and over and over again, okay, there I am in the situation with Amitabha on my head or in my heart. Or maybe I'm Amitabha. How would Amitabha react and respond in this situation? Yeah, if I'm getting all wigged out about something my family did sometime, how would Amitabha look at this situation? Yeah, this is a really good question. Yeah, because Amitabha is clearly not going to be all wigged out about it like we are. So how would he be looking at the situation that would enable him to have a calm mind? Yeah, and think about that, because that will give you the clue to the kind of attitudes and emotions that you want to spend time cultivating. Yeah, because when you cultivate those attitudes and emotions, then like Amitabha, you look at the situation that way, yeah, and you'll be okay. Okay, so because it's very, very interesting, somebody, there's a situation, and our mind, because of our self-grasping and our self-centeredness, goes immediately to how this situation appears from my viewpoint, what this person is doing to me, how they're making me feel. Yeah. So the whole situation is seen through this lens of me, I, my, and mine. Okay? And we think that's reality. Yeah. Amitabha is in the situation, and even that same person is doing that same thing towards Amitabha. Like we pretend we're Amitabha, and that same stuff is coming towards us. But we're not looking out of our usual lenses. We're looking out of Amitabha's lenses. And what does Amitabha see? Yeah, he sees a suffering sentient being who's overwhelmed by afflictions, whose afflictions have nothing to do with me. I just happen to be the person that is standing in front of them when they're acting out their afflictions. Their affliction has nothing to do with me. Yeah. If I did something that provoked their affliction due to my afflictions, that is my responsibility, and that I need to look at. Okay. But also, don't say they're angry because of I'm such a horrible person. That also is not true. Go back to your logic classes. Yeah. I am a horrible person because somebody else is angry. Yeah. That's how we often think, isn't it? I am an awful person because my parents, my lover, my boss, whatever it is unhappy. Yeah, is that true? Yeah, run through your 3 criteria and see if that's true. Okay, so look at the syllogisms you're giving yourself. A lot of which are incorrectly formed syllogisms. Yeah, and even if they're formed correctly, they don't make any sense. The 3 criteria don't hold at all. Okay. So really, deal with what comes up. You will have very good sessions too, where you feel like, Amitabha's here right now. I'm just have to take his hand and I'm going to the Pure Land, forget lunch, And some days you will feel like that. Yeah, great. Don't try and recreate that experience in the next session. Don't grab onto it and say, oh, now I've got to do that again. Yeah, just say, that was fantastic. Wow, look what my mind can do. Look how, all of a sudden I understand karma. Or not totally, but all of a sudden I have more belief in karma. All of a sudden I can feel what it means by the Buddha's awakening activity. So just rejoice in that. Yeah. Feel happy that you had that experience. Don't latch onto it and say, okay, now I have to tell everybody in retreat. Patching your notes all around. Just rejoice. Don't try and recreate it. Just be happy. Okay. And what you'll notice, which is so interesting, especially doing retreat in the winter, is how the mind changes from day to day. Yeah. One day it's snowing and you say, how beautiful. The next day it's snowing and you go, I can't stand the snow anymore. You know? It's so interesting because you're doing the same thing every day in retreat. Same schedule, same people, same sadhana. The mind goes up, the mind goes down, it goes this way, it goes that way, it goes inside out. And you will begin to see, how it's not the environment, it's the mind, and how fickle our mind can be. One day we want this, the next day we want something else. Okay? So, take it as an opportunity to learn about yourself. And you're not learning just about your garbage mind. You're also going to learn about your good qualities. Because you'll see during the retreat, spontaneous acts of kindness will come in. You'll see that somebody woke up late and the altar isn't prepared, and you'll just automatically jump in and start helping that person set up the altar, okay? You'll see that somebody doesn't feel so well, we're short a dishwasher, and you'll find yourself just doing that. So rejoice, and rejoice when you can look at people with kind attitudes. Rejoice when you can rejoice in others' virtue and not compare yourself to them. Yeah? So don't just focus on, your afflictions. Focus on your good qualities as well and think of how you can enhance them. Yeah? And how you can share them with the world. And in your meditation, imagine sharing your good qualities with the world. Mm-hmm. In your meditation, Amitabha isn't just on your head. You can imagine all sentient beings, and he's on the heads of all these sentient beings. Yeah? Especially the people you don't like, or the people you disapprove of. Put dear Donnie in front of you and let Amitabha pour the nectar down him. Okay? Yeah. You don't know dear Donnie so well, do you? Yeah. Yeah, it's our president. Yeah. We call him dear Donnie. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. To avoid other names. Yeah. Or if it's somebody that harmed you in the past or whatever, or, we just heard about the school shooting. Think of these 17 kids who are strangers to us, but have Amitabha, pour the nectar down into them as well and purify them. And Amitabha's also on the head of the school shooter and on the head of every single NRA member. Yeah? And imagine that, by having the nectar come into them, that their minds change. Their attitude changes. Okay? And that helps us to remember that people, ourselves included, are not some solid, self-enclosed entity. Yeah? We're changing, flexible, impermanent things. And so are other people. Okay? And so basically, just enjoy your retreat. The time will go very fast. Usually the first week, it feels like the first week takes a while. And then after that, this is my experience every retreat, it seems like, there was the first week and now it's the last week, and what happened to the middle? Yeah, it goes very quickly. So really treasure your time and treasure your opportunity and rejoice that you have all the conducive circumstances to to do the retreat. Yeah. And let your mind be peaceful. Yeah. If you tend to be an anxious person, just put the anxiety down. I know it's difficult. We're so habituated with being anxious, we don't know what it feels like to feel calm. But try it. Think about Amitabha. When that nectar comes into you and that light comes into you, it's not anxiety nectar. Okay? So imagine what it would feel like, just release the tension in your body, release the tension in your mind. Yeah? Stop feeling like you have to fix everybody. Yeah? And instead develop a kind heart. Yeah? If you develop a kind heart, your good deeds are automatically going to flow. If you're going around trying to fix everybody and trying to rearrange everything in the environment, there's no end. I'm wondering if we should get some little plastic duckies. Like the kind you had in your bathtub when you were a little kid. And so on the days, because what happens is when we feel out of control, we get anxious and we want to control everything. And we get very busy. So I'm wondering what it would be like to have, we have a basin of water and we have some duckies. And, just when you're anxious and when you feel like you need to control things and you need to fix things, then you go and you rearrange your duckies. Yeah? Because sometimes I think doing something physical that's a reflection of our mind can actually help us soothe the mind. Yeah? Do you want to talk about, yeah? Tell them about your thing.
Once upon a time, we had a retreat at Sravasti Abbey. Many years ago now. Mm-hmm. And I don't remember what the retreat was. But my best demons I was really wrestling with self-hatred quite a lot in that retreat. It was kind of ferocious and enormous, and I must have been verbalizing it or something. I don't remember that part. I'm sure everybody else does. But at some point, Venerable Children suggested that all of us actually might create an effigy or somehow externalize this internal thing that was going on. And a few of us rose to the occasion. But to be able to take that image of this, the image was an endlessly insatiable, needy mouth. Needing love, needing attention, needing praise, you all know this. Huge, gaping, wound that could never be satisfied. So to create this creature out of potatoes and rusted bolts, and I don't even remember what all it was. Frederick took a picture, I have it. But anyway, and then to just put it on the dining room table and go, that's it, that's me. Venerable Jigme walked by and said, "Oh, good to get that out, isn't it?" And I would say that monster, and it really had been a monster for my life, it was really gone with that action. Really, completely transformed. Not that, it doesn't manifest in different ways, but... So yes, the physicalization of the thing that's most obsessing, depressing, suppressing us, obsessing, is helpful.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see whoever goes into town next. See if you can get some duckies or something that floats. Okay, thank you. And do we have some crayons? Yeah, then let's make this our table. Yeah, for creative exchange. And put some crayons and some drawing paper and markers and I don't know, whatever else you think would be good to put on it. And rusted bolts. Yeah, Play-Doh would be good. Okay, and put it out here. And when you feel the need, it could be whatever, it could be a wonderful emotion too, that you want to draw, you want to display. It could be your demons, whatever, and then just feel completely free to, draw and use the Play-Doh and, yeah, get your duckies in line.